checking our channel here. This is going to be hopefully a repair video on this particular unit. This is a Zareba 3-mile solar unit, 0.05 joule output, so not very strong for what fence chargers in general, but for what it's designed to do, I'm sure it does a good job. It's an older unit. I don't know how old it is. The serial number is partially wore off, but it's got to be 15 years old or so. Zareba and the parent company that owns them, which is Woodstream, they also own the American Farmworks stuff that's sold at Tractor Supply. They also own Blitzer, Red Snapper, and Fi-Shock. They own some other brands from back in the day, but that's the main ones that are around today. That company no longer is selling parts, so you can't get any parts for any of the Zareba and the other brands I was talking about. Any of their new stuff anything's been built in the last 20 years, you can't get any parts for, anymore. So they've gotten out of the parts business. So we have to do a little. If we can fix something, we got to do a little either reworking or retrofitting or something to make their units go. And I've been kind of pushing away from working on their stuff anymore, just because you can't get the parts for their stuff. So it is what it is. They've gone to a throwaway mentality. So if you're thinking about buying a new unit, I would not buy a Zareba or any of those other brands, Tractor Supply stuff, the American Farmworks stuff in general, Blitzer and all them, because you can't get parts for them. So why? They're not exactly cheap. They're not like they're giving them things away because you can't fix them. So it is what it is. All right, just making sure this is not the right bit, but I think this is a bit that we can use to get this out of here. So the story on it is, I think it comes on. Let's see if I can power it on here real quick. This is a 6 volt. Yeah, 6 volt. Power it on here. See if it even turns on. All right, it doesn't turn on at all. So maybe the battery's no good. But I think the story on this was that it flashed and clicked, but no output. But now it doesn't turn on at all. So maybe we've got a bad battery to start with. Screwdriver I need. So maybe just do like this, the other way, it comes out like that. Alright, pull this battery out. Oh, battery wasn't even hooked up. So the cover's on the battery. So the wires for it are way up inside there, hiding. Let's check this battery. It's a 6 volt, 4.5 amp hour battery is what's inside this thing. So let's test the battery first, see what it reads. I've got a power supply I can hook onto this. 6.5 volts, so the battery's fine. Alright, so we'll shove this battery back up inside there, and when I get this cover open, I'll just hook the wires onto the battery. But let's get this piece back inside there. If you want to know a little bit more about us, if you're not familiar who we are, there are links. I don't have my card nearby, I don't know where it's at. But there are links in the description below to our website. It's fencerfixer.com, not fence fixer. Alright. For being a solar unit, these aren't very well sealed up. You see there's Mr. Dead Flies in here, there's cobwebs galore. There's dead fly hanging out there. These aren't very well sealed up from the front. They have a little drain hole here in the corners and maybe in the back as well, so if water does get inside here, it's supposed to hopefully drain out of it. But here's our battery wire. Let's get these wires plugged on here real quick. Loose. So, but yeah, we'll get our fence tester out. Make sure it's turned off. It's turned off. Alright, let's get our tester out here real quick. Alright, let's power it on. Oh yeah, I can hear it arcing, so I don't think we're getting any output. Should make the clicking noise, but it's arcing somewhere. Well, let's put our tester across it. See what we get. This is peak voltage, no load. 0.4, 0.7, so less than 1,000 volts come out of it. These things probably peak out around, I don't know, 7,000 plus or minus. So our problem's a transformer. Let's get this thing unplugged. Solar panel went down here. This wire there. It's a red wire one above, so I'm gonna try to remember all that. We don't work on a lot of these, so I remember it. It's gonna be. Make a pause the video, go back and watch the little clip, then start over. All right. So we need to put a different transformer in it, and the bad thing is you can't get a factory one anymore, not even for one of the newer units. And this version was really good. These transformers honestly don't go bad all that often. But I think there's enough room, hopefully, that we can put a different transformer into this thing. But what we're going to do is we're going to snip off the wires of the original one for two reasons. We're going to reuse them, splice into the new transformer, but we're going to also, so I don't have to remember where the wires went. So that's the piece that's bad. Alright, let me go grab a different transformer. Alright, here's the transformer we're going to use for a 6 volt, 12 volt type unit, solar. I've got my bolts here I'm going to use. I knew I was going to possibly be doing this video. I got bolts that will work to hold, we're going to bolt this down to the case, I hope. And I got a couple different bolts I'm going to use depending on how much room I got when I put the lid on there. But we've got to get this thing, mounted up inside there first, and then we'll start splicing wires. So I know this will work with it. Let's got to figure out how do I want to mount this thing in here. So it should fit right here. Then we'll drill some holes So make sure, we'll put it over this way, because we have to make sure we're out of the way of the little sleeve here. That's where it mounts onto the metal fence post. So I think we're going to put it right there. Now what I also have to do is I've got to put a spacer between the case and the metal plates there, so that way when I bolt it down, there has something to kind of soften or take up the space there. Not soften anything, but just all these little nylon plastic spacers here. So figure out which one's going to work. I think this is going to be too short. Okay, we got about that much room. I think this is going to be, that would work. Let's see if I can find one a little bit bigger. That's going to work. Alright, so we're going to use a couple of those. Alright, and I'm going to set down low. I'm going to just put one right there. We don't need much. I'm going to put one right there. So put this one back. Okay. See, I need a drill bit. Ooh, excuse me. Make sure this is the right one to use. It's too big. That'll work. I need to smack on this a little bit because the holes aren't quite lined up, squared all the way through. Alright, so we may have to make the hole a little bit bigger once we, I want to set it right there. Alright, let's get one of the bolts. See if it'll fit in the hole there. We'll make it just a little bit bigger. Alright, that'll work. Okay, so now put the bolt to the back and put some caulking or some kind of seal on the back side so that way no water can get, because there's no like gasket or O-ring or anything on there. Put the spacer of it. Hopefully this is long enough. Hope that bolt's long enough. Let's see. Come on. Ooh, just barely. Good enough. Alright, nut. Let's get I'm gonna get a deep socket. Put it in here. Just make it easier to tighten up. Get that started on there. Come on. Cinch that down. Alright, so wiring time. Alright, blue and brown are our primary. So that goes to, I'm going to solder and heat shrink this stuff because With it being outside in the weather, I don't want to use butt connectors and have to worry about water damage and corroded connections or something silly. So we're going to solder and heat shrink. So the first thing we need to do is we're going to strip off. My wire strippers at. There they are. Strip off the blue. Strip off the brown. And we're going to get the primary wired up, because we can, at least once we do that, we can fire the unit back up and see if it'll click, and we'll put tester across it, make sure we're getting good power. But we're going to tin these wires, which basically means we're going to add solder to all the wires, and we're going to fuse them together, because this wire on the transformer primary is solid and the wires on the board are stranded. But we're going to put the solder iron on the back side of the wire, and we're just going to add, as it heats up, we'll be able to add solder to the wire. And the solder will flow through the wire to the iron, because the solder flows towards the heat. You don't want to paintbrush it on there, it's a bad technique. Alright, and then we'll probably let's cut some of that off. We don't need that much of it exposed. Solid, we're gonna, there we go. Kind of rubber iron on top just to kind of get the heat to kind of spread across that wire. Alright, I'm going to get my heat shrink. Should work. We'll just take our snips here and we'll just cut it in half. Just thread it on down both of the primary wires. And before I heat shrink, I'm going to run it like this, and we're going to see how the voltage is on the output, make sure it clicks and fires right, make sure the voltage on the output is correct. If it's not correct, we may need to reverse these primary wires. Alright, there's the secondary wires right there. Alright, so get the meter back out. This will tell us two things. One, did we fix our problem? And two, are we heading the right direction? And two, will it be the right voltage output and everything? So let me turn this on. Clicking again. Put our wires across this and this. And we're getting 10,000 volts. This transformer is made for a bigger unit, so it should handle the stress, or whatever you want to call it, the power being discharged into it. So we'll slide these wires back up over the solder joint. And then we'll heat shrink it. Alright. Hot. Just push that. Just kind of get it out of the way. So that one, just kind of push it down in the way. Just kind of get it out of the way there a little bit. Alright. Same thing with the red and black. Let's see. Alright, now we're going to solder and heat shrink this up. It's the same process as before. Alright. Just want to get that wire kind of covered up with some solder. Come on, get on there. Okay. Heat shrink back out again. Now the voltages might drop a little bit once we get the light bulb and everything hooked back up to the system. I think it's just an LED on this one. Side by side, getting them both up together, they should fuse together. Going steady, there we go, that one's done. Same thing here. Slide this up, slide that up. All right, let's see if I can remember how the wires went. Solar panel shouldn't be too bad. It's the light bulb that, if I get that backwards, I won't. Is that LED? I think it is. If it's not, it's a NE2 bulb. So let's see, solar panel. Right here. So which one? So how many ones? I got 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Battery. I think the negative of the solar panel is going to go down here. The negative of the battery is down here, so they're probably close right there. Positive solar panel, because the positive batteries right up here, so it's probably right here. I believe negative of the LED or NE2 bulb, whatever it was, one of these things got, it's down here. I believe the red one was right above it. Now the only thing that will happen if I don't do it right is that on the LED is that if I have it backwards, it won't flash. Alright, let's just set that there for a second. Let's see if we can get the bolt to flash. Turn it on here. Oh yeah. Flashing. Put our tester on it again at the bottom there. We'll look at the kilovolts, and I guess we'll do the joules at the same time. This is a 0.05 joule unit, so I don't think we're going to... This only has one decimal point, so I don't think we're going to be able to see the joules on this one. But let's... this way. We'll open it up. Because I can't get to the knobs underneath, they're all tightened up. Let's put our meter on there and see what kind of... Still right around 10,000 volts. Oh, it's bouncing around so much. Let's see what kind of spark this little thing throws. Turn the light off for a second, because I don't think the spark out of these things is real bright. But let's get some wire. I just had a piece of wire here earlier. Let's go. I'm going to turn that off. Strip this back. And we're going to go between fence and ground. We're going to touch one terminal and get close to the other one. Get the needle little pliers out just so I can get my hands out of the way. Okay, the camera's not picking it up every time, but it does shoot about a 1/4 inch spark every pulse. 1/8 inch, 1/4 inch spark, whichever that is in millimeters, centimeters, I don't know. Alright. Turn it off. Put it back together. So this unit is done. If this had went to anybody else, it probably would just throw it away. But came here and we got it going. So now I just got to find the right bit again. Put the frickin' weird screws in there. This right one. Nope. This right one. Yep. No, not the correct one, but one that'll work. Turn the light on so I can see a little bit better. Get the screws kind of started, because the holes don't just, if you just put the lid on there, they don't just line up perfectly. You got to kind of guide them in there. Got them in there. Sorry about that. A sneeze sneak up on me. Let's flip the switch back on. There she goes. Alright, well, thanks for checking out our channel. Remember to subscribe, like this video, whatever. Comment down below. Tell your friends about us. Share the video. And until next time, we'll see you guys later on.